G'day Exiles, the Primordial here. Heist has been out for a couple days now and I've noticed nobody has made a breakdown of the challenges for this league. This was likely due to them not being posted before launch as they weren't ready. Anyway, I thought if nobody else was going to do it, then I should have a crack at it. So this video is my thoughts on the challenges this league, what's hard, what's easy, and what you should be skipping if you're only going for 36 of 35 this league. As usual, I do stream on Twitch, most of my content does come from there, so if you are interested in discussing any of that live, or just wanted to hang out, give me a follow at twitch.tv/theprimordialtv so you can catch me when I'm live. With all that out of the way, let's get into the challenges. The first one, Prepared for Battle, is essentially a free one. It's just here to teach newer players the importance of appropriate resistance ring for the first 3 bosses. If you happen not to be using one of these rings on your first run through, you just buy a white ring from any vendor, go back to obliterate the bosses for the challenge. The second challenge is very straightforward. It's just interacting with the various heist content. The smuggler's caches generate randomly in zones. You should find one almost straight away in Act 1. The second 2 parts are just for completing a contract and a Grand Heist. The last one is to buy a contract from Wakano in the Rogue Harbour. These are super cheap, usually only 1 chance or alchemy orb. I recommend you buy as many of these as you can afford once you're around map level. Like all vendors, his inventory resets every time you level up or daily. Challenge 3 is to do some side quests. The Dweller of the Deep and the Queen of the Sands are passive quests that you should be doing anyway, but the rest are usually skipped by most people. All you have to do is go to the following zones for their quest. The Library in Act 3 for a Fixture of Fate, the Ruined Square in Act 5 for the King's Feast, and finally the Broken Bridge in Act 7 for the Silver Locket. The next challenge is essentially a free one, just requiring you to kill the first 5 act bosses. Nothing really special here. Challenge number 5 is another easy one. All players should encounter an Exile, an Acceleration Shrine, and should be modifying Arcanist strongboxes wherever possible. The last one is a little different and requires you to find a Remnant of Corruption. This can be quite uncommon, however you don't need to corrupt any of the special purple essences. So if you really wanted to get this one out of the way, you can just use it on any kind of essence. Number 6 is all about heist again. The first part should be completed on your first non-quest heist. The second part, escaping within 45 seconds, does require some forethought, but isn't too difficult. For the last part, equipping a heist trinket requires you to run Grand Heist with a reward type for trinkets. Keep an eye out on the rewards at the top of your blueprints and this won't take long at all. Challenge number 7 is a little bit tougher and serves as an introduction to some of the past leagues. To complete all of these, you'll need to be actively interacting with that league's content. In short, refresh your prophecies frequently, running your incursion and betrayal mods on the map device, and pushing tormented spirits into unique monsters. For the last one, the prophecy Possessed Foe guarantees a ghosted map boss and is also very common. Challenge 8 is another free one, just requiring you to finish the main storyline and begin the epilogue, another super easy one. Challenge 9 is to run each tile set of the basic contracts, pretty straightforward. As long as you're buying contracts from the NPC regularly, you should find all of these fairly quickly. Challenge 10 is to complete some of the various currency vendor recipes. The easiest way to get these are the following: a Scroll of Wisdom from vendoring a transmute, a Chromatic from any red, green, blue linked item, Jeweler's Orb from any 6 socket item, Glassblower's Bauble from vendoring a 20 quality flask or any number of flasks totaling to 40 quality, a Gem Cutter's Prism vendoring any 20 quality gem, Chaos Orb for vendoring a full set of gear, item level 68 to 75, Cartographer's Chisel vendoring any kind of 20 quality, Stone Hammer with a map, any map from vendoring 3 maps for a map tier upgrade, any Sextant, same as the map, just vendor 3 for an upgrade, and last, the Divine Orb for vendoring any 6 linked item. Challenge 11 is just to modify any heist contract with basic crafting currency. This is essentially a free challenge, there's nothing too hard here. 12 is a bit of a step up in difficulty from the tedium of the last challenges. This one just requiring you to receive your first 4 watchstones and then slay Cyrus. Nothing too hard for the determined player. Challenge 13 is to slay some unique heist monsters. These are all just randomly found in heists. These are going to be specific to certain tile sets, so make sure you're running all different kinds of contracts so you find them all. Encounters 3 is a little tricky, requiring you to kill map bosses while affected, or without being affected by, in one case, certain debuffs they can inflict on you. Dominus in the Villa map requires you not to be hit by his cold beams. Good dodging or just straight up DPS is key here. If you're killing him before he can cast, you can complete the challenge. The other 3 require you to be under the effects of debuffs. I recommend kiting each boss for a bit, learning what abilities apply those debuffs, then bringing them to a sliver of their health, waiting for them to use that ability right before killing them. Challenge 15 is to complete Grand Heists. All of these relate to getting the most out of your Grand Heists and fully revealing all their wings. You should be doing this anyway, as the end rewards can be incredibly juicy, and will be required for some of the later challenges. Challenge 16 is to complete 10 maps of different tiers, while they have the twinned affix. This has been a challenge for many leagues now, and isn't too difficult even if you're not the kind of player to reach red maps. All you would have to do is double boss map tiers, tier 1 to 10. Challenge 17 is just to open the little chests throughout contracts. These are all random and some are rarer than others, so just make sure you're making the most out of all your contracts by opening as many chests as possible while killing as few guards as possible, and this should be a piece of cake. Challenge 18 is to equip body armor or weapons with heist enchantments. These are fairly common and you only need to do 10 of the 14 possibilities. If you're playing in a trade league, you could easily buy the ones you need, equip them once, and then sell them off for the next person to use. In SSF, you're just going to have to run a lot of contracts. Challenge 19 also relates to equipping heist items, this time with the experimented item bases. These only drop from Grand Heists, but you can also pick which one you want before triggering the lockdown. You could also, like the last challenge, just buy them off players and then sell them back. Challenge 20 is to fully equip your rogues with rare heist items. These only drop in contracts and Grand Heists, so you want to make sure your loot filter is displaying these so they're not getting mixed up in with the other drops. In my experience, Neversinks made these look too much like regular loot and easy to miss. Now I'm not sure on this last bit, but you may be able to fully equip a rogue, get them checked off, and then transfer that gear onto other rogues. It should save you from finding heaps of heist equipment. Challenge 21 is to turn in divination cards of certain stack sizes. The following are what I would recommend. For stack size 1, we'll use Chaotic Disposition, drops frequently from Poor Joy's Asylum. 2 or 3, The Lover, drops from mineral pools or underground sea maps very frequently. For 4 or 5, we'll use Her Mask, drops from any maps tier 1 to 6. For 6 to 7, we'll use the Metalsmith's Gift. It's very common from stacked decks and should also be really cheap from other players. For 8 to 9, we'll use Reign of Chaos. It's very common from stacked decks and also very cheap from other players. For 10 or more, we'll go as Prosperity. It's really common from the Shore map. These are just my recommendations, and you may find other sets easier, or this challenge may skew the prices of these cards so that others may be more ideal. Challenge 22 is more past league content. All of this occurring in maps sporadically. The last one is to open maps with Fortune Favours the Brave, granting a random Zana mod that could also help towards the rest of the objectives in this challenge. For the most part, Fortune Favours the Brave is cost effective and you should be running it on most of your better maps anyway. And number 23 is to complete all Labyrinths. It's always best to get these done ASAP. If you're in a trade league, you can always join global chat channel 820 and people will post any Eternal Labyrinth trials they have to share. Challenge 24 is to complete 30 red maps with 8 modifiers. For the inexperienced, this is an outcome that is only possible through the usage of a Vaal Orb. These 8 mod maps are some of the most dangerous but rewarding content in the game, and will be required to complete some of the later challenges. I almost always recommend Vaaling most red maps anyway, so this challenge should be pretty easy. Some players could even do 38 mod maps in a day or so. 25 is to level Heist rogues to level 5 in every job. It should be noted that each rogue has 3 jobs they can perform, so it's not required to fully max out every rogue in every job. If you're running Heist frequently, this should come in time anyway. Challenge 26 is to reach level 90. This isn't a problem with any determined player, as they should reach level 90 within a few days to a week. For most players concerned with the challenges, this is essentially another free one. Challenge 27 is all about the alternate quality gems acquired from Grand Heists. Equipping an alternate gem is straightforward, you don't even have to be using it. Leveling an alternate gem to 20 is a little more challenging, but not as bad as the next, corrupting a gem to level 21. I recommend leveling as many alternate gems as you can in your offhand, so you can attempt to Vaal them to 21. Unfortunately, you can't just buy a level 21 gem from another player to complete this challenge, and level 20 alternate gems will likely command a premium due to this challenge. The last one, have a socketed gem with alternate quality that has at least 40% quality, is very interesting. There's a few ways of doing this, but the cheapest I can think of is using a 20 quality gem, socketed into the green socket of a Dialla's Malefaction, and a level 2 enhance socketed into a red socket. This will boost the quality of the gem to 46% and complete the challenge. The total cost for these 2 items is currently 5 chaos in trade leagues, not too uncommon if you're playing SSF. Now we're getting into some real grinds, with challenge 28. 250 contracts and 25 Grand Heists is fairly straightforward, but revealing 60 wings and 300 rooms will come at a significant rogue marker cost. It should also be noted that revealing a wing does not count towards revealing the revealing room counter. It's only for extra rooms like extra treasure rooms and escape routes. As long as you're really trying to make the most out of your Grand Heists, this challenge should only just be a matter of time to complete. Challenge 29 is to acquire an alternate unique item from every base type. Again, these can only come from Grand Heists, and you can decide which one out of 4 that you want. These can also be bought from players if you're looking to speed this up. They should command a slight premium as well, as players will be looking for them for the challenges. Otherwise, at the top of each Grand Heist blueprint, it tells you which kind of rewards you can choose at the end of each wing, so prioritizing replica unique items will speed up this immensely. Challenge 30 is to complete 15 of the 19 listed unique maps. For the most part, these are all quite common and easy. If you're looking for the easiest or cheapest way through this, I would personally skip Doriani's Machinarium, Hall of Grandmasters, Brandis Manor, and then your choice of either the Putrid Cloister, Twilight Temple, or Vinctar Square. The rest are quite common and not too much of a challenge. Challenge 31 is to fully complete your Atlas. This is a goal all players should be working towards anyway, as the rewards for it are insane, and there really isn't much reason for you not to want to do it these days. It's a little grindy, but it's essentially another free one for the determined player, confident in tier 16 maps. 32 is to complete all the heist quests. These should all drop from smugglers' caches fairly commonly until they're all completed. The only way I can see to speed this up is to just simply run more maps and hit more caches. It should be pretty straightforward. 33 is all about 3 unique heist contracts. At the time of recording, I could only find Breaking the Unbreakable and Death to Dinal available for trade. It's possible Heart of Glory was cut until the content patch in the next few days as it wasn't ready. That being said, the 2 that were available we're only going for around an Exalt or so in Trade League. Fairly cheap considering they have their own challenge. I would assume these aren't too rare. Time will tell with Heart of Glory though. Challenge 34 is very mysterious and unfortunately currently uncompletable, as it appears the twins were cut from launch due to not being ready. As a league boss, I can't imagine them being too hard to access though. Probably somewhere along the lines of Katarina was during Betrayal for accessibility. Encounters 5 is very tricky. The only advice I can offer is to learn the abilities of the required bosses and going from there. The main difficulty here, I can see, are the bosses of the Vile Temple map. The boss this challenge is requiring you to kill last, I'm not even going to try and pronounce her name, is by far the most dangerous, easily capable of one-shotting most characters. Although these challenges seem very restrictive, there is some control you have here. For all of them except for the Chayula one, feel free to run the maps white to make them as easy as possible. For the Vile Temple one, however, it would require vendoring 5 of them to receive a white, uncorrupted Vile Temple map. It may just be easier to find one without too many mods that make your life harder. Challenge 36 is the big one. Complete maps with a total of 75,000 item quantity. Assuming your average rare map is providing 80 quantity, it would take 937 of those maps to complete this challenge. Obviously, for completing this challenge in any meaningful time frame, you'll want to be running maps with as much quantity as possible. So corrupted 8 mod red maps with sacrifice fragments and a fully completed atlas could cut that time amount in half. If you're only looking to do 36 challenges instead of 40, this is definitely one of the ones to skip. Challenge 37 is a bit of an unknown. Not a lot is known about these bosses this early on, but my only advice is to be prepared to do at least a couple of these bosses from the unique heists to learn their mechanics. Fortunately, it doesn't sound nearly as bad as Encounters 5, and should just take good dodging and mechanical knowledge. Like the last challenge, not a lot can be said about Challenge 38. The twins just aren't accessible in the game yet. The last 2 portions, defeating the twins by killing either one first seems easy, should just take 2 runs. But those first 2, defeating the twins without becoming immobilized, and defeating the twins without causing the twins to swap positions, sound like they'll take good knowledge of the fight. I recommend studying up on some YouTube videos on their boss fight once they are released, if you intend on completing this challenge. Challenge 39, Deadly Encounters, is actually not so bad this league. The Shaper and Ferrule are very easy and an obvious 2 choices for the 4 that we have to complete. All doesn't require you to be a certain depth for this one, so if you're planning on delving much this league, is also an easy one. The next easiest would probably be Venarius in the Cortex. Zana offers the Cortex map occasionally if you're running tier 15 or 16 maps, so as long as you're spending her missions on your highest tier maps, that should come eventually. It's really up to you here though, not all of these bosses are too hard to encounter. If you're in a trade league, there will also be people offering kills of these bosses for some currency in channel 820. The last challenge, Challenge 40 as usual, is the endgame grinds. A definite skip for anyone who is only looking to complete 36 challenges. None of these challenges are any small task. Fortunately, this is probably one of the easier endgame grinds from the last few leagues. 40 Syndicate safe houses isn't too bad as long as you're using all your Betrayal map device missions. 40 Breach domains is by far the easiest here, as some breach stones are as cheap as a couple chaos in trade leagues. And factions in the domain of timeless conflict are always worth running. The more common ones can also be bought fairly cheaply in trade leagues. For the last challenge of 4, it really depends on what kind of player you are. If you love running maps and grinding to 100, then level 100 is for you. If you're a lab runner, then 500 Labyrinth chests is nothing, or what would be my personal choice, if you really love running heists, then completing 750 heists is what you should go for. So, with all 40 challenges out of the way, what do I think? Personally, I feel this is probably one of the easiest 36 challenges or even 40 challenges we've had in quite some time. If you were going to do 36 challenges, I would skip challenges 35, the Encounters 5, 36, the Heist map grind, 40, the endgame grinds, and then the last one is really up to you. But probably either 37 or 38, defeating the contract bosses and the twins bosses under certain conditions respectively. If you're only going for 24 challenges for the cat pet, which is what I would say would be the best reward, but I might be a little bit biased there, then this is an incredibly easy league for that. So much so that I would implore you to attempt to go for 36, as challenge hunting in Path of Exile is just another incredibly fun goal. I myself am going to try and go all the way for 40 out of 40, but as I'm playing solo Self-Found, I might just have to settle for 36. Anyway, if you enjoyed this kind of content, make sure you subscribe for more, and make sure you check out my Twitch stream at twitch.tv/theprimordialtv. I'm currently undertaking my own self-imposed challenge to collect every unique item in the game in SSF. Thanks for watching, this has been The Primordial, and I hope to see you all in Rayclast.